Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Liza Long, and in this short video for Cyborgs and Centaurs, I'm going to show you how to use Claude AI to narrow and focus a research question. Let me just share my screen and we'll get started. Now, you can use these same tools with any chatbot that you want to interact with, but I'm going to be showcasing Claude for this particular interaction. So, just to be clear, this is the paid version of Claude. So you would need to pay to get some of the features that are here, but you can also chat with Claude for free, but you will need an account. And always make sure you check the terms of service and especially the privacy concerns when you're using any chatbot. So as you can see, I asked Claude to help me develop some content for crafting focused research questions for student writers. And in this case, I've given Claude a very clear role. I've let Claude know what I'm doing, that I'm writing a first year textbook for writing students, and that I would like them to develop a narrow and focused research question. So initially, Claude chats with me and gives me some good advice. Now, how do I know this is good advice? Well, I've been teaching composition for a long time, and this is probably the advice that I would give to you also if I were teaching you to write a narrowed and focused research question. So I incorporated this in our textbook pretty much as is. But then I thought, let's have a little bit of fun with this. And one of the things I love about chatting with AI tools is that it can help us with a concept called problem formulation. Problem formulation is when we're thinking about what we really want to solve or do with the tool. So in this case, I thought, okay, that's great. It gave me words, but I would like a graphic or a visualization that students could use. And it said, sure, I can do that for you. So it created this flow chart. All right, ugh, right? It's just not particularly helpful. It is accurate though. If you zoom in, you can see that the flow chart it's a good flow chart. So I looked at it and I was like, well, that is the most boring thing I've ever seen. Can you do better? So I kept chatting with it. I said, overall, that process looks good, but it's not very visually interesting. Let's try again. And Claude was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. I can add some color. All right. So I've shared this in your textbook. I think this is a better visualization, and you can walk through these steps on the flow chart. However, I still think it's kind of a complicated flow chart, and I liked it. I thought, okay, this is okay. I like the reasoning for why it did what it did. But I said, could we create a simple program that could walk students through each step? So the students would put their responses into each question, and then they would keep going depending on the responses. And it said, yeah, I can do that for you. And that's where I had a little bit of fun. So I was like, oh, cool. So it wrote this code. And I opened up my Python compiler. Yeah, super fancy, right? And copied and pasted the code, and it worked. I tested it out. I said, okay, let's try it. So it gave me, I hit Shift Enter, hit Run, and it said, welcome to the Research Question Development Program. This like really took me back to the early days of computers here, interacting with it. So this was fun, right? It actually was a good tool. I was like, oh, this would really help me to narrow and focus my research question. In this case, let me walk you through the process because this is how you might think about it. Let's say that I'm majoring in education. So my broad topic of interest is education. And then I want to narrow and focus that. So it asks me a specific aspect. And I think, oh, math education. Is it personally relevant to me? Yes, I love math. So then we apply the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, how, why. So the 5 W's and the H to the topic. And we answer each of these questions. Who's involved? And I think, well, maybe students who don't like math. What is the main issue? They don't understand, or maybe they hate math. When does it occur? When they're in algebra, I thought. That seems like students always get stuck there. In public school, why is it important? Well, we're always hearing STEM careers are so important, right? Maybe English is more important now, though, right? So I think about ways that I could solve the problem. Now it asks me to frame it as a research question. And what I come up with after that problem formulation exercise is this: how can high school algebra teachers better prepare at-risk students for success in future STEM careers? That is a narrowed and focused research question that I could write a 6 to 8 page paper about. I do ask if there are debates or controversies related to the question. This is because you can use the same topic for Essay 1 and Essay 2 if there's something debatable or controversial within your question. And the answer in this case is yes, there are plenty of debates about the best way to teach at-risk students, right? I also wanted to limit my inquiry to public school education because private school or charter school might provide different results. So I decided I would limit it to public school. And then, are there sufficient sources? Well, a quick search in the CWI library assured me that yes, there are sufficient sources to answer this question. So now it's telling me, good job. Now I would seek feedback from peers or instructors. You'll be getting that through the class. We'll just pretend that the feedback was positive. And now it gives us that summary. So I did not write this code, right? I just asked Claude to write the code for me, and it did. Right. And that was kind of fun. But again, I thought, well, this is a little bit clunky. Like it's not my favorite. So it worked. It was super fun. I put it in my compiler, yay. But is there any way to make it prettier? And Claude says, why, yes, there is a way to make it prettier. And now we have the tool that's built into your book. So I would recommend that you go through this tool yourself, taking those same steps with whatever broader topic you're thinking about to narrow and focus. And I will link out to this chat as well so that you can see the entire chat. But as you can see, this is a pretty fun way to learn a little bit more about a problem. You can also use chatbots, like if you're not sure about debates or controversies, for example, you could ask it that question. It asked you, are there any debates or controversies? And you could push back on the chatbot and say, I don't know. Are there? What are some that you can think of? So treating the chatbot like your writing buddy, your assistant, the person who's helping you to learn more about what you are interested in, you're keeping yourself as the human in the loop. And remember, thinking back to Ethan Mollick's principles, being the human in the loop is the key to using these tools. So I hope you have fun developing your research questions, and I will look forward to reading them. Happy writing.